Hello everyone, this is week 5 of course, and we're going to focus on handling sources. We did a little bit last week when you started to look at chapter 2 and they say I say regarding summaries. And this time we're going to look at quoting, but remember the rule that I'm offering you here, and it's a good rule to go by. Paraphrase often, quote seldom. Only quote something that's really worth quoting. And of course, you know that you're working on something that's due next Monday. Now let's go to the assignments page and let me show you again. And if you haven't seen my screencast on getting that done, be sure to take a look at it. And it's all about handling sources, the overview of discussion, of expert discussion. And most of what you're going to be doing is summarizing. And you may quote just once for each source. One sentence for each source right there. And that's what we're focusing on this week is quoting. Now, you're going to have to decide which is important enough to quote. Obviously, not everything a source says is quotable. That's why I say paraphrase often. And the rest of what you're doing this week is kind of pointed in that direction. The discussion on chapter 3 of They Say, I Say, which is the art of quoting. And let's go there. Of course, you have the reading questions as usual. We stop by the modules page. Last week's screencast, checking the experts. If you haven't seen it, by all means, take a look at it. It'll help you get started on this assignment. Meanwhile, let's go to our textbook. And I'm going to pull up chapter 3. It's a little slow, but it's free. And let's go with the online version. A little easier to spot. Okay. And let's go to chapter 2. I think we're there. This is chapter 2. Yep. And here I'm at the tail end of chapter 2. And this is important stuff because you'll use this for quoting as well. As you can see, what they did, the Graf and Berkenstein, the authors, is they put verbs for introducing summaries and quotations at the end of chapter 2 because you use it for both. And that includes paraphrasing, which is just a miniature summary after all. So look at the different job descriptions of these verbs, give you an idea how they're used. Try some of these out. They'll come in handy. As we get into chapter 3, like I said, the art of quoting, the authors talk about a couple of really useful concepts for quoting. Not only what's quotable and what probably doesn't need quoting, but so right there. They talk about something called a quotation sandwich. So I hope you don't get confused. It's not really about food. It's about framing a quotation. And keep that word in mind, framing, because Chevalier uses the term differently, but it's a common term. So keep that in mind as you read, and it's going to prepare you for the discussion of the week. Just below the class chat room if you have a question about the assignment due Monday. And the first posting of the week's discussion takes you into doing a little quotation sandwich work here, pulling something from what Chevalier says. Okay? And that's what's happening this week. So I hope you have your assignment well underway. It's 5 paragraphs, as you know, on 3 sources. And since most of the work is finding sources, and if you've done that, you're getting down to the summaries that you'll need for the middle paragraphs. And we've already talked about in last week's screencast what goes in the first and last paragraph. And again, there is last week's screencast right there. Have a great week.